Yo, what's going on, everybody? We are back on another video. I'm so excited to be back after doing some schoolwork. That stuff is boring. This stuff is fun. So let's get this thing started. In this video, we're taking a look at 5 players, or kind of 7 players, but we're doing 5 because, well, 1, top 5 sounds a lot better, and 2, you guys will kind of see what I did in the list. But anyways, we're looking at 5 players that are really on their last leg or have their last chance to make the team after week 4 of the preseason, okay? Because as we know, there's one last preseason game, and they really have to stand out in that game. So let's get right into the video. There's definitely some other players I could have put on here, but I really wasn't going to put guys that maybe have played well, but because of their situation, like take Mark Thompson, for example. I think Mark Thompson has played super well for the Detroit Lions, but the problem is the situation that he's put in. I don't know how much he could do to really get out of that situation with 5 running backs. Like, what is he supposed to do with that? So that's the guy I'm not going to put on this list because I think he's been doing fine, but at the same time, he's just in a very bad situation. Now, these guys, on the other hand, they're in a situation where they can win their spot or they can move up the ranks. The problem is, yeah, you'll find out during the video. Okay, so let's get this thing started. Coming in at number 5, again, is kind of 2 players, and those guys are Josh Johnson and David Fales. I threw them both on here because they're backup quarterbacks, and they're kind of playing against each other for that backup position. I guess you could also throw Tom Savage in here as well, but with Tom Savage's injury, he really doesn't have any kind of take or say on what goes down because he really can't show them anything because he's still injured. There's not much that he can really do on the field to be like, okay, this is why I earned the spot. Because he's not healthy. So hopefully he can get healthy. We don't know when that's going to be, though. We're thinking somewhere in the regular season. But with that being said, he may not even be on the team by that time. So Josh Johnson and David Fales are 2 guys that we're definitely looking at. Both of these guys, again, fighting for that backup spot. Josh Johnson looked a lot better last week than David Fales did. But Josh Johnson looked a lot more comfortable with the offense. But here's how the backup quarterback position has been going, okay? Let me do a quick recap. I did it in one of my other videos. Let me do it again, okay? So, we got Matthew Stafford as number 1. Yeah, we're feeling good. We got our backup, Tom Savage. We got third string David Fales going in the preseason. Start off that preseason game. Tom Savage, I'm hurt. He went 2 for 3. I believe it was 44 passing yards. And he gets hurt, okay? So, Tom Savage goes down. All right, well, I guess David Fales, it's your turn, huh? No, David was pretty much hot trash. I mean, here's the thing about David Fales. I said during the game, I don't think it was that bad. I think the problem was the offensive line did no favors for him at all. He wasn't great, though, so there was nothing that really stood out to you. So, David Fales didn't look like a great backup quarterback. Okay, so Lions had to make a decision. Yeah, this ain't going to work. We got to go get somebody else. Okay, who do we go get? Josh Johnson, a veteran quarterback. He's a little bit mobile. Probably they get a mobile quarterback because they know we probably don't block that well. But they go get a mobile quarterback. Okay, bring him in. This is our backup quarterback. This guy's looking good. All right, throw him in there. He's our number 2 quarterback. Well, what happens in the next preseason game? Josh Johnson doesn't play very well. Yeah, looked pretty bad. He didn't look in sync with the wide receivers, but again, he was only there for, I believe, 5 days at that time. So then David Fales, his third string, played out of his mind. He looked like an MVP. I believe he was 12 for 19 or something along those lines. He was just absolutely outstanding. So David Fales was the MVP for that game. So with David playing that well, okay, next week, week 3, which was a couple days ago, you're going to be the backup quarterback. Well, that's great, David. Show us what you got. Well, David didn't play so well again. It was like, oh my goodness, where is the consistency here? Okay, well, maybe Josh has something. Well, Josh kind of did have something. Okay, he played solid, not great. He played solid. So now we're still trying to figure out who that backup quarterback position is because right now it's been a complete mess. And again, Tom Savage is hurt. So I don't know who's going to win that battle. If I had to guess, I would go with David Fales. I don't know, man. It's just so tough for me. I'm going to stick with my gut. I think David Fales got it, man. I'm rooting for both of them, but I think David Fales got it. Unless for some reason Tom Savage gets healthy and he goes back or the Lions go get another quarterback, which I don't think they will do. Now, coming in at number 4, we have an offensive lineman, and this is Bo Benchwall. Now, Bo Benchwall is a guard that we signed as an undrafted free agent out of Wisconsin, who I thought was a complete steal at the time because Bo was the guy that I thought was going to get drafted in like the 6th round, the 7th round. He was just sitting there. I was like, oh, we're going to take him. We didn't take him. But after the draft was over, the Lions said, you know what, we'll just sign this guy because he didn't get taken. Great move, great move. He hasn't played so well, though. That's what's unfortunate. Unfortunately, he hasn't lived up to really any of the hype maybe we had on him. Again, he wasn't an undrafted free agent, so it wasn't like we had crazy hype for him. But again, he hasn't played that well. And he's definitely a guy that's on his last leg. He's got one last chance really in week 4 to try to fix what he's kind of done, okay? He's been very inconsistent as an offensive lineman, giving up a lot of pressures, a lot of hurries. That's something that he's got to fix. Bo, you got this one chance, okay? Week 4 of the preseason, you're going to get a lot of opportunities because we're not going to play really any starters at all. That's just not how week 4 works. So you have a chance to go prove yourself. Go do that, Bo. We're rooting for you. Go do your thing. Now, coming in at number 3, we have another offensive player, and this guy is Brandon Powell, the wide receiver for the Lions. Brandon Powell is definitely right on that bubble, okay? You'll see another guy that is also on here that's wide receiver, but right now, Brandon Powell is on that bubble for sure. Now, we saw Brandon Powell hasn't played terrible, but the problem was he wasn't getting much playing time then. It's never a good sign to not get a lot of playing time because that means, the coaches, maybe that's how they feel. Unless for some reason, like I said before, that they believe Brandon Powell is that great and they're good with him, but I don't think that's the case. So, Brandon Powell, you will have this big opportunity, though, in week 4 of the preseason because, again, we're not playing starters. You're going to get a lot of time, okay? There's a lot of guys that are going to need a lot of time at the wide receiver spot. A lot of your competition will. Guys like Chris Lacey, guys like Andy Jones. Those 2 guys you could also throw on this list, but I did not. But the guy I did throw on this list, he's up next, coming in number 2, and that is Travis Fulgham. Okay, Travis Fulgham, the 6th-round pick out of Old Dominion. We picked an offensive player out of Old Dominion. Yes, good deep threat, but he's been inconsistent. That's been the problem, man. This guy's made some plays. He's just been so inconsistent. It's been really hard to say, okay, yes, this guy's going to make the team. That's the problem we've seen so far with Travis Fulgham. And, man, I'm absolutely rooting for him. I think it's going to be hard to cut a rookie. But, again, if you're inconsistent, we saw him fumble last week. That's just not something that you can have on your team. We know how that went with Amir Abdullah, okay? Unfortunately, Amir Abdullah was a 2nd-round pick. This guy was a 6th-round pick. And I'm still rooting for you. You have the deep ball ability, right? You can go up and make plays. The problem is you just got to be a little bit consistent. Now, again, a week 4 of preseason, you're going to have an opportunity. You're going to have big opportunities to go do a lot of things because you're going to play a lot of the time because this is really their last chance to make that decision. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have 2 players, once again, and those 2 guys are at the same position. That's why I did this. Those guys include Michael Ford and Teez Tabor. Now, Teez Tabor, I don't know if he's healthy or not yet. I'm pretty sure he's still hurt, and I don't know if he's going to be back for week 4 of the preseason. He pretty much needs to be, unless something crazy happens, but he needs to be pretty much there, I think, in my opinion. So I'm pretty sure he's going to do everything he can to be here for week 4 of the preseason against the Browns. I just don't know if it'll happen. And for Michael Ford, he has been playing. He just hasn't been playing well, okay? He's been getting beat on a lot of things, so he definitely has to step it up. We've all seen a lot of other cornerbacks that are probably right on that bubble as well. D. Virgin is another guy you throw in here. Andre is another guy that you can throw in here. There's been a lot of guys, but I went with these 2 guys because we've talked about them a lot, right? These 2 guys are battling for that cornerback position. Well, they're both, on their last chance to make the team, okay? Neither of these guys are safe at this point. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Teez can get healthy and show us at least something during this preseason. And for the other side of things, hopefully Michael Ford can go play well and try to earn himself a roster spot before, the week 4 preseason game is up. Anyways, these are my 5 players, actually 7 players, that have their last chance to make good impressions for the Detroit Lions. If you guys have your thoughts, let me hear them in the comments below. And now things can change. Players could get cut before the game starts. The players can move around. We don't know. But at this time of me recording the video, this is how it looks, and this is what my list looks like. Anyways, thank you, Prop, for watching, and I'm out.